You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Don't get your tinsel in a tangle. Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston can help make your holiday easier with cash for clothes. Sell us your gently used trendy styles to earn cash on the spot. We need your denim, dressy clothes, sweaters, boots, and more. Plato's Closet buys and sells sustainable styles. Earn cash to make holiday spending less stressful. Don't get your tinsel in a tangle this year. Simply get cash for your cool clothes at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 51 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning. Welcome into a Monday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the phone number if you want to get in on the show with us this morning. X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, and at Wimp Sanderson 1. And our email for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download that Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. Before we get started, though, we want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You want to build the fence, the deck, those beautiful pergolas out on the back porch, then Yellowwood is your brand of choice. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. All right, we'd love to have your phone calls. We got Max Howell at the bottom of the hour. Doug Bell will be with us at 8:15. I don't know that I'll be here when Doug, I got to get out, but Doug, I'll send it to you. He went 3-0 again over the weekend. So I text Doug. So Doug will be on cloud 9. He hit another. So that's 6-0 the last 2 weeks. So Doug is on a hot streak. So good morning, Chase. Dad, before you do your deal in the scores and all, and I know you don't like to say best or worst ever. That's not something that you like to do. Players, teams, I understand that. But here's my question to you. With everything that was on the line for Alabama at Oklahoma, the playoffs were on the line. Was that the worst performance in Alabama football history? And I want our callers to, with everything on the line where they looked like they did not even practice to get ready for Oklahoma. No adjustments whatsoever. So with everything on the line, could that possibly be the worst performance in Alabama football history?
Yeah, possibly. Probably not. I saw some really bad ones in the years that I was there.
But with the playoffs on the line?
I thought you fixed to brag about my blue plate, but you didn't.
Oh, you blue plate did nail it. You did nail the blue plate. So Doug,
pretty hard,
not only Doug, so we gave you 4 winners.
41.5 points.
Yeah. But Tennessee, well, they didn't really have to impress anybody and hey, you guys, I'm going to let you in on this. My lawn is going to look so good for a year, and I'm not going to have to pay a dime for it. Thanks to Jason Barksdale and North River Landscaping. Ole Miss laid an egg. If Lane Kiffin would just kick field goals, he would win the game. But he wants to go for it. He wants to be cute and go for it on 4th down. So thank you, Lane. Thank you, the Gator Chop and Billy Napier.
Okay, now 3 or 4 just real quick things before I tell you how the game was won and lost, because I know, and some people think they know, but I can tell you. Oklahoma got fined $200,000. South Carolina ladies got beat for the first time in 1,000 days, 77-62. It was a shellacking by UCLA. We'll talk to the winner of the Sea Island tournament, who played very, very well. McNeely, Lee Hodges, and Robbie Shelton played well in that. I want to mention just very briefly that Creighton lost one of their best players to a bad injury. I think Alabama plays them. Georgia beat St. John's last night in basketball. Auburn and Iowa State play tonight at 8 o'clock at Maui. And Alabama and Houston will play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Kennesaw State had a huge win over Rutgers, the former coach at the University of Alabama, the head coach there, and it was their biggest win ever. So congratulations to them. I said all that fast because I know you want to talk a little bit about this. The winner, okay, now we'll start. The winner of the Texas A&M game will play the University of Georgia in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. Now, I'll go through what's happened, but in the game, outside of the two passes in the flats that were poorly passed, intercepted, where you throw the ball in the flats there, somebody will shoot the gap on you and steal it and go for a touchdown, which the defense couldn't do anything about. The reason that Alabama got beat was not any doubt is that the offensive line at Alabama was killed, beat up, stomped by the defense at Oklahoma. You forget up front, but Milroe didn't have a lot of time. Did he play as good as he needed to play? No. I've already mentioned the two plays that occurred there. But the defensive line at Oklahoma, the defensive people at Oklahoma were so ready to play. They tore the tackles up at Alabama, and they just absolutely coasted into that win. However, had the two throws had not been that way, it's been a much closer game than it was. And certainly the play that they called back was very costly to Alabama, but not costly enough for them to win the game. But when you get to talking about this why, that why, and the other whys, I tell you right now, their defense ate Alabama's defense up front. So that's pretty much the way it is. Now, we're going to have a situation now that it's occurred that Georgia will be in it regardless of what they do. Texas will probably be in it, unless they lose to Texas A&M and Georgia. Tennessee will probably be in now, and the outs. I'm using the word probably, and the outs will be Alabama, LSU, A&M probably, and Ole Miss for sure, probably. So those are the outs right now, and it's shrunk down to some because the ACC is going through their deal with SMU and Miami, trying to see if Clemson can get in. And the Big 12 is a cotton-picking mess to see who is going to get it. I've gone fast, but I've told you exactly what happened in the game against Oklahoma. Okay.
Well, I think it's the worst loss in the history, and the effort was atrocious. I hear you about Milroe, but when he threw that pick and he ran over there with that, excuse my language, that half-ass effort to tackle that guy running, I'd bench him for that now. He went over there. Now, emotion and just adrenaline, you would have knocked that guy into the stands. He went over there and dove behind him. That was embarrassing. As athletic as that kid is, then you're playing not to get hurt when you do that. You throw a pick and that guy's getting ready to take it back and you run over there and kind of just fall on the ground. I don't care if it's senior day or not. You're going to sit down for that. Something's not right when you do that. The lack of utilizing these running backs. We talked about how great our running backs were going to be at the beginning of this year. Those guys will be in the portal. If I'm Justice Haynes and those guys, if you're not going to run me, now maybe next year's going to be different if Ty Simpson's the quarterback, because you're not going to have a running quarterback. But on both sides of the ball, you're right, Brent Venables, he's a heck of a defense coordinator. They were not going to let Jalen Milroe. Unlike LSU, where Jalen Milroe ran up and down the field, they're like, there ain't no way.
No way.
We're going to let this guy run. We're going to see if he can throw. We're going to make him beat us with his arm. And the defense was no good either. That quarterback ran the ball down their throat. So they all should be ashamed what they did. And people that spent their money to travel out there, they owe them an apology, to be honest with you, the way they played.
I don't know that I go that far.
Yeah, that's great. It may be a little far, but I don't understand.
Right now, those defensive linemen are ready to play, and they're down in their stance, and they're busting your fanny every trip, and you can't do anything about blocking them And then if they do run, you're dead in the water. And Venables
somebody explained to me. I don't understand the rule. Obviously, the call was missed on the touchdown.
Yeah, it was.
What does that mean? It covered up. I don't even know what that means. So somebody call in or email me. Covered up. They had two guys obviously in the slots back off the line of scrimmage. Ryan Williams was a legal guy on the line. The guy threw the flag. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Cover up. So somebody called it.
He did throw the flag before the pass was caught. So it wasn't one of those deals where he saw the pass being caught and then he threw the flag. He threw the flag early in the possession. So he did not know it was going to be a touchdown. But it was, of course, what a callback touchdown, really.
Milroe has another year, right? Isn't that right, guys? I don't think he needs to. His draft stock had to plummet after that game. I would think. I don't know. This didn't. Something's not right. Something's missing. Something's not right in that locker room. And I don't know. I don't have any faith.
Well, were you satisfied with the coach's remarks after the game?
I don't even know if I listened to him. What did he say? I didn't want to hear what any of them had to say.
No, I said we got to regroup. Nothing really, you know.
I don't have any faith that they're going to be ready to play against Auburn. Do you?
I tell you what, if they don't realize the significance of the game.
Do they care now, though, with the playoffs gone?
I don't know, but that's one of the problems that you have from a mental standpoint. Once that playoff is gone, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Ole Miss will beat them even if they don't play. But those things, you're exactly right on that one.
I mean, if you go to play at Oklahoma.
Anytime you're out of the NCAA tournament, anytime you're out of this, that, and the other, the Final 12, I can tell you right now what exactly what's going to transpire in these Final 12.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, if you go to Oklahoma with that kind of effort. Now, I know the fans aren't playing. I know they care and they want to beat Auburn. They're dying to beat Auburn. They hate Auburn. I don't know the teams. When I see that happen in Oklahoma, I know I'm being harsh today, but I don't have any faith. All right, let's get to the break here. We'll open the phone lines, 205-342-9904. I know I've been harsh, but, man, why throw an interception like that and not go knock that guy into the stands? To me, that's alarming. 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth Midwest. Local, out of town, out of state, no problem. You just need stuff moved around the house, getting ready for the holidays. Give them a call today. It's 205-247-5050. 2 men in a truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. AAA says Thanksgiving holiday travel is picking up on roadways across the state this morning. They say a record number of motorists will be out due to the lower price of gasoline. 20 cents a gallon lower on the national average, 10 cents a gallon lower on the statewide average. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident at Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some long-term road.
Top workplaces? Join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
The place to be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 52 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Need to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. I don't know. I mean, I understand you've lost some games, but I'm saying with everything on the line, the playoffs, the SEC championship game, to go play like that with all that on the line. Now, you've gone and lost games, but I don't know. All right, to get to the Yellowwood hotline. Good morning, Philip.
An emphatic yes to what you said.
Yes.
An emphatic yes. Because if you look at the amount of treasure that they would have gained from possibly getting into the playoffs, and I realize Auburn's next, but let's say they'd won that game and beaten Auburn and gotten into the playoffs, the tremendous loss of millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and not only the amount of money you make from hosting a possible game or just going to the playoffs, plus the advertising, the marketing, the recruiting, and the prestige that goes along with it, it's the biggest loss.
So you're saying to me that Alabama's not a football school. Since they're going to a bowl, nobody's going to go. Is that correct?
Nobody's going to go.
Okay.
They're talking about they're going to the Citrus Bowl. You going to go to the Citrus Bowl?
Nobody's going to go to that.
So you like them when they win, but you don't like them when they lose.
I don't.
No, I'm not saying that.
I don't.
That's what you said.
No, I don't. It's not. It's not that they lost. It's the lack of effort. When I see a guy throw an interception and run and fall down out of bounds and not knock that guy out, then I have a problem with that.
Yeah. No. Obviously, I love it when Alabama wins, but I'm looking at the way Barry posed the question at the beginning of the show, and I'm just simply answering that question. That is an emphatic yes to the fact that it is a tremendous blow to the football program. It is. There's no other way you can look at it.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly a big blow. I've seen blows before you were born.
I know, Coach. I understand, but I've been watching them for a long time too. I'm just talking about everything that was at stake. This is the first year of the expanded playoffs. And not only is Alabama not going to get into the top 12, I don't know if Alabama is a top 16 team.
Well, I don't either. I won't argue that. I got to take up sometimes for people that they lose. I don't know that there were I don't know that there are a whole lot of quarterbacks that would run over and tackle a guy.
Really?
A proper shove would have worked.
I mean, he went over there and didn't touch him.
Yeah. Okay.
He just watched him go in the end zone. At that point, it's 17-3. I mean, you might knock him out of bounds, and who knows what could happen. But I don't know.
He could have gone after his arms, knocked the ball loose, anything. But anyway, it was a colossal loss, and I'll leave it at that. But the other thing too, it sets the business plan, the 5-year plan, the 3-year plan, the 2-year plan, whatever you want to call it. It sets it back exponentially. I mean, it really sets the plan back going forward because it's going to affect recruiting and it's going to affect the current team and the portaling that's probably going to take place after the Auburn game. I hate to say it, but it's a huge opportunity for Alabama this weekend. I don't know how much they prepare, what they do to prepare for games, if they can prepare with what they've got. It's just a huge question mark on the program right now, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing, before the game, you said to our listeners and to me, and I think you're a good listener, a good caller.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's going to have the head coach is going to have. If you like him, he's going to have these guys ready to play, so to speak. Everything is going to be built around him, and you're confident of him. And now you're going the other way.
No, I like Coach DeBoer. I like him a lot. I'm questioning whether or not their preparation is limited because of what they've got.
Wow.
Do you have faith they're going to be ready to play against Auburn? I'm asking you, Dad.
I think so. I think they will be.
You think so?
I want to ask this last question about what they've got. Are you saying their material, Alabama's players are not as good or didn't play?
Both.
You're saying Alabama's players not as good as we thought they were?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got so much on my mind. I called you my wife. I'm sorry. I just thought they were eaten by the defense of Oklahoma. Yeah. I didn't like. Most of the time, you know me. You don't know me, but you know me. I'm always big on effort. I always was.
Yes, sir.
Always have been. I'm just an effort kind of guy. And I didn't think the effort was great. I didn't think it was quite as bad as Barry thought, and I could be dead wrong.
Well, I agree with you, Coach Sampson. Coach Sampson, I agree with you 100%. Those passes to the flats, they have not worked all year, and it's either a minimal gain or no gain or an incomplete pass.
You shoot the gap on those passes, it's 88 and out the gate because all you got in front of you is the field.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. Thank you, Philip.
Thank y'all.
All right, back up to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Joe in. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Morning, Wimp. Hey, Wimp, great blue plate. That was a no-brainer.
No-brainer. It was, so people were taking Georgia plus 42, and I didn't do that.
You're right, Joe. It was a no-brainer. And he picked, when I said, hey, pick the blue plate, he just started scrambling, just ended up just picking
I picked Tennessee. I get no credit. Okay, you give all the credit.
It was a good pick.
Wimp, it was a great pick.
Yeah.
You covered it by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I thought you were making fun of me.
No, Wimp, the thing you said was it was a desperate team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the whole key.
Yeah.
That was a desperate team.
All right, Joe.
Look,
Joe,
guys,
answer my question, Joe. Was that the worst performance in the history of Alabama football with everything on the line? The SEC championship, the 12-team playoff, NIL, everything on the line. Was that the worst performance in the history of Alabama football?
No.
Okay. Name one that was
Thank
worse.
You, Joe. Here's Whitworth.
Hey, look, guys, our defense only gave up 10 points. So, I mean, but that's football. Pick sixes is pick six.
They also gave up 150-something yards to a running quarterback.
Well, it's tough when you got a good running quarterback for anybody. But look.
They had six receivers out.
It's radio, Barry.
God. I mean, let's just be honest.
Hey, we're being honest. Hey, look. So everybody's saying we're definitely out now? We're in the Citrus Bowl?
Yes, we're out. Are you kidding me?
So, all right, answer this question for me. After this week, is there not going to be a team in the 12-team playoff with 3 losses?
It ain't going to be Alabama.
No, I'm just asking you a question.
I don't know.
Joe.
Yeah, well.
If you got a pencil in your hand.
No, I'm driving down the road. We're going to go play golf. I can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, here they are. Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, SMU, Miami, Notre Dame, Indiana, Boise State, Tennessee, Arizona State, and Texas. That's your 12.
Okay. And none of them have 3 losses.
No.
After this week, that's who you're going with. I'm just saying, look how much it changed this week. Look how much it can change this next week.
But when you lose, Joe, to a team that's won one conference game, that would be equivalent as a bad loss.
Your commissioner's already said, Joe, that the teams that play in the championship game will be in the final 12. Now, if Georgia were to get beat by...
That's not true.
That's what he said.
Well, he's wrong about it. If Texas A&M gets there and loses, they're not going to the playoff.
That's what he said.
So...
To get in the championship game, if who gets it and loses?
Texas A&M.
No, they're not getting in with 4 losses.
No.
Texas
A&M? No way.
If Texas A&M beats Texas and loses to Georgia, they're out.
Okay. Well, that's what he said anyway.
Yeah, well, he
yeah.
So
that's it. There's no way you're going to get a team in there
with everything on the line that was worse than that one on Saturday. I'm curious.
Well, I can go back to 2 or 3 Gene Stallings games.
Without that on the line. I'm not talking about just the regular season.
There was problems like when Bart Starr was playing.
So Stallings had a game on the line where he could get to the SEC championship.
His opener, he lost his first 3,
his
Barry.
Opener, though, that's not, you don't have anything on the line on the opener. It's the beginning of the season.
No. And Saban did the same thing. Pick 6.
Yeah, Saban got beat by Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, but they were in that game. They had a chance to win it. This performance, they had no chance.
But Barry, if you're talking about the whole game, you go all the way back to when they beat us in Tuscaloosa, when Auburn beat us here that year with Saban. I mean, there's always these games with this money and it's all this stuff.
I understand that, but Alabama played. Well, they were up 20-0 in that game, so they played well. We played horrible on both sides of the ball. I'm talking about the performance. You're going to lose some games.
Joe,
Barry, let's make this point. Those games, those kids wouldn't make it $30,000 and $40,000 to play football, but they are now.
Joe, will Alabama beat the 11.5-point line against Auburn?
Oh, I don't think so, Will.
Really?
Well, Alabama beat Auburn.
If Lawson's out, Will, we've lost Robinson and Lawson. We've lost our best edge rusher.
Good point.
And probably our second best, if not first best, linebacker.
Good point.
Think about it. I mean, Lawson, if he can't play, that is huge.
Joe, who's going to be more mentally ready in this game, Auburn or Alabama?
Alabama.
Joe, no way.
They will. They're going to come back
coming
and
off a loss. I mean, off a win over a 3 overtime win.
Auburn's trying to get to a bowl. They got to win this game to get to a bowl.
They're going bowling if they win this game, Joe.
I still say we will be ready. We will win the game. We will not cover. That's all I'm doing.
Well, I'm not saying they won't win, but I'm just saying I think Auburn's going to come in here more juiced and ready to go than Alabama. I hope I'm wrong. Thank you, Joe.
Thank y'all.
Hit them straight.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Maybe I'm overreacting. Am I overreacting, Chase?
A tad.
Chase?
It goes to the tad. I don't think so. I think it's a horrible loss. I think everybody's just mad.
They should be.
It's just mad.
I mean, I hope the players are mad, but when I saw Jalen Milroe go try to tackle that guy after he threw that interception, he didn't look mad to me. Like he was protecting his.
Oklahoma was the worst football team in the league.
I mean, they won one game. They had 5 receivers out, and their next best one got hurt during the game.
Yeah.
So you knew they were just going to run the ball. I don't know. Let's get to Max. Just a Tide 100.9 is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident at Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some long-term road construction.
Tuesday night, live from Walk On Sports Bistro for Hillcrest Huddle. That's Brent Jones each week as the Hillcrest Patriots march towards the playoffs.
road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
In stock and over 60 pre-owned vehicles. Remember, we'll buy your car even if you don't do business with us. 3200 Skyland Boulevard, East Tuscaloosa. Online at mercedesoftuscaloosa.com.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Cat Bammer messaged me. The worst Bama loss, Clemson 44, Bama 16 in the national championship game. Bama was favored in that game. But he did say, I completely agree with you. I have zero faith after that effort they showed against Oklahoma. I also had a guy text me that says, no, but I said, am I overreacting? No, you are not. I lost some respect for the brand, and that's hard to say. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. He's a former assistant coach at Ole Miss and Florida State, radio personality throughout the South. Coach Max Howell. Coach, I'm throwing this question out today. With everything on the line, the SEC championship, the Final 12, money galore now with NIL, was that the worst performance in Alabama football history?
No. In the recent history, I think it probably was.
Were you around when Bart Starr was the quarterback?
Hey, listen, I knew Bart's dad very well.
And I didn't ask you that.
Well, then that means he was around if he knew Bart's dad, but let's do the math.
Were you around in my buddy Gene's first opening two games?
You liked that one, didn't you, Chase?
When Gene Stallings was a new head coach, they lost the first 2 or 3 games. Were you around then?
I remember. Remember Hootie was the athletic director of Florida State.
I don't want to talk about that. I'm not talking about him. I want to know, is that correct?
Is this the worst? Talk to me, Max. The worst loss in the history. I mean,
well, I'm trying to. But
we won't let you answer, will we? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First of all, let's talk about the game itself. Didn't you realize on the first offensive snap, when Milrose had a great success, take the snap, turn it right to back end, pull it in, and take off down the sideline. Mm-hmm. That big linebacker stepped up and hit him in the mouth the first play.
He said, "Not today."
Yeah, so that defense was exactly a bigger player. Give them credit.
Yeah,
I agree. But they were better prepared, Coach. I mean, look, if you watch the defensive ends, most of the time they were the spies. That's why he never got outside. I mean, they did a magnificent job on defense. And then, of course, I've been down on 74 for 2 years, but that's neither here nor there today. The other right tackle was just as bad. They even, to me, I watched the play. They blocked the wrong guys on the runs. They would ignore the guy nose up and try to go for the linebacker. Yeah. I don't never understood those kind of things. That just, to me, signaled not fully prepared for that ball game. And Oklahoma was. I think that was the glaring. I think Melrose had 7 yards at offense. The total offense play the first half was 97 yards. Come on, that's inexcusable for a team like Alabama.
But I'll tell you what, the other people will be watching that film.
Yeah, Max, they got that LSU film and said, whatever LSU did, we're going to do the exact opposite, correct?
Well, let me tell you, they got the Vanderbilt film and said, whatever Vanderbilt did, we're going to do. And you go back and look at it. You remember Oklahoma had about 205 yards on total offense the first half. Over 100 of it was that second-team quarterback running. If you remember, he just take the snap and take off. And Alabama wasn't prepared for that either. I mean, it was just – you know what's dangerous about it, guys, is the game we got coming up this week.
Yeah, are they going to be ready? Are they going to be ready?
Yeah. It's going to be hard. I'm going to tell you it is. I watched the last
Max,
part.
Will Alabama cover the 11.5 points?
Will they cover it? I don't know if they're going to win.
I'm worried if they're going to win, Coach. I really am. I mean, certainly they've got the talent to do that. But I thought Auburn did a job coming from behind. They played better from behind in that whole ball game Saturday, and I don't think anybody thought they could win against A&M.
Auburn ain't got no kicking game.
No, well, yeah, you're right. They don't, but they found them a passing game in a responsible running game as well, and I think that threw the opposing defense off also. So I mean, I think that it's gearing up. If Alabama loses to Auburn in Tuscaloosa,
oh my
heavens, guys, next Monday morning is going to be tough.
It could happen, Max. I think Auburn is going to be more excited to play Alabama than Alabama is Auburn. Don't you?
I agree 100%. I do. I really do. They think they got a chance now.
Yeah.
So it's all about the preparation, and we all recognize the drastic difference in the new coaching staff versus what Coach Saban did. It's just a whole different ball game. But I just wonder how much during the week the kids are picking up on that. I mean, it doesn't seem like the intensity is there, even during the ball game to me.
You got to have people on your team that want to beat the because I went through that basketball. I wanted to beat Charles Barkley's butt, but beat him 5 out of 6.
I mean, we've all coached. We've had teams like that, and maybe it's our fault. I don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Max, help me one thing though. We know the guy missed the call on the touchdown. They called.
Sure.
What does that mean? Cover up. I don't even know what that means. Explain it to me, the listener.
Well, basically, if the guy is off the line of scrimmage, even though he's a wide receiver, if he makes contact, if the opposing team makes contact, that appears to them that's a damn field block. Is what it amounts to, and that's what they've tried to do. That's where a lot of injuries take place.
Was it the wrong call?
It was the wrong call, absolutely. And you know what, guys? What's worse than that? It's no problem for the official to go out there when it's over before the next play starts and pick the flag up and have have a change of thought. He saw something, maybe he didn't, and then it comes to him, hey, that's the wrong call that I made. We've seen them pick the flag up before, but they made no effort. They made no effort to explain it.
Picking the flag up, that's a good point there. If he could pick the flag up, that's a good point.
Sure. He absolutely could have put it in his pocket and he'd gone right on. But no, they had to, and I didn't know this. That was the same crew that I understand. I believe I heard them say it on the same crew that when they threw the stuff on the field at the Texas ball game, that was the same crew that called that ball game and had to change the call there.
Max, I got to get your opinion. I don't know if you saw it. Well, you saw it, but when Milroe threw that interception, the guy ran back for a touchdown. He ran over there. He could have easily leveled that kid,
right.
and he just kind of ran over there.
He went behind him
and flopped on the ground.
Because he got busted in the mouth.
Now,
first play.
What does that say to you?
I watched
what does that say?
I watched his angle.
What does that say as a coach?
It tells me. Let's talk about the kid first. It tells me that he was a little shy after he got hit in the mouth the first time, I believe. I think, and I really do, guys. I believe that had something to do with his accuracy in throwing the football. I know he hit some of the receivers right in the hands, but it probably didn't have the velocity on it, or
he hit the great receiver right in the hands on about the third play of the game, and he dropped it.
Y'all telling me because he got hit in the mouth on the first play is why he did. Your adrenaline when you throw that pick and that guy's getting ready to take it to the house is you go absolutely knock him into the stands. You don't go over there and fall behind him. That's to me looks like a guy that doesn't want to get injured, is injured, something.
See, well, that's what I say. Psychologically, he either was hurt or still dazed or whatever. He didn't want to get hit again. Let's put it that way. Not like that.
That's right.
Go back and think about how many times he's been hit like that all year. Not many.
Yeah.
Because he's bigger than most of them, particularly bigger than defensive backs that try to come up. But that was a big linebacker that stuck him in that.
Tell me about these two tackles that are so bad for Alabama.
Well, they don't have good feet, Coach. They're 350 pounds, and they can. I couldn't talk about that if I hadn't coached that position. You make those adjustments, the sprints from the guard. You make that if you got a slow-footed guy, and you watch where the defensive guard or tackle lines up on you, and you make your adjustment. Look, remember, that very little aggressive blocking going ahead. It's all backing up. All they got to do is use his speed and turn him out to the outside. Because Melrose knows to step up in the pocket, and he's good at doing that. But the fact the tackles did, in fact, even my observation was the tackles would have the wrong guys on 2 or 3. They'd be cover up. They'd go try to block a linebacker, thinking that Melrose was going to get outside and the tackle could never catch him anyway. But that's all in preparation during the week. They were not prepared to handle a different look on the defensive side.
All right, Max, let's go to the Ole Miss game.
Oh, boy.
Lane Kiffin's going to always Lane Kiffin. Why does he not kick those field goals? You get down there and he goes for it. If you just kick those field goals, he'd have won the game. But
I know he would.
He always does this. And I'm happy because I have a guy here in town. I had a bet with that if Ole Miss, he owns a lawn agency, if Ole Miss lost 3 games, he's got to do my yard for a year. So I was sending him gator chops all day long. But why does he not kick these balls in these games, Max?
I've watched him in several situations like that since he's been there, really. And I think a lot of it has to go back and do. Remember, he was raised on the sideline with his dad in the NFL. And then look where all he's been. He's been to Southern Cal. He's been to Tennessee. He's been, he's got all. And then, Coach Saban says he's one of the best play callers in America. And I think some of that kind of stuff has set in with him. And I think he thinks he can outsmart people by doing that.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Outsmart Ohio State too, and lost the national championship.
Yeah, it's something about his personality that he's got to grab that spotlight by doing something like that every time.
It's analytics in his mind.
Right. Yes, that's where it all is. And then again, sometimes, and that's what I heard about the ball game with Florida. He had 2 weeks to get ready. One of the guys over there told me he gave the kids off, 3 or 4 days that first week. Instead of, he thought he watched Florida's tapes and he assumed that the Florida, but he also assumed that Harris kid was going to be back, and he wasn't. He was back for one play, then he went down again. So I don't want to say he just completely got out coached, but he got out positioned without a doubt. And the Florida folks wanted that ball way more than Kiffin did for whatever reason. See, his position was just like Alabama. He had to win that ball game to get in. And if when it comes down to the last pick in 11-12 next week, I think Alabama's got an outside shot, mainly because of the fan base nationwide, because of numbers. And they'll take a 3-loss team if they got 30 million people watching. But Ole Miss ain't got that. So Ole Miss is out. Their season to be over.
You're telling me that Alabama's got a shot to get in?
No.
I think they got one, Coach. At the end, now depends on
Max. How?
You wait and see. Hey, listen, y'all. You don't understand.
But they just lost to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt.
It's all. You think the committee cares about that? It's all about the money. How many people go watch the game?
Man, I don't know that. If they put them in, that's embarrassing.
Well, it's going to depend on who ends up being 11 or 12. If it's a team that's got a great following across the country, they're going to take them because with only 2 losses. But you let somebody else end up down there, like Indiana. If they end up at number 11 or 12, I can almost guarantee Alabama will go before Indiana will.
All right, let me ask you this, Max. If you're the coach at Alabama, these running backs, I think they have a great running back. That's all we've heard. They don't use them. They don't give the ball to Justice Haynes. I thought Justice Haynes was the best. I thought he was going to be the best running back in the SEC. Maybe I'm an idiot. And Jam Miller, they don't use the guys. So, those guys are going to walk in and they may say, hey, we're going to have Ty Simpson next year. We'll have more of a running game. But how do you keep those guys from transferring when you never give them the ball and they're as good as they are?
Well, see, you just hit the nail on the head, Barry. The fact is, because they aren't doing that, you wait to see these companies. If they lose to Auburn, that will be a mass exodus in the portal. I can guarantee you that. And look at the kids they're trying to recruit now. How many of those they're going to lose also? They're going to lose some just because they lost the game this past Saturday.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
that loss is going to be far-reaching than other than just a loss. It could be, as we all know, it could be the playoff situation. It could be the loss of players for next year that's in the portal, that's already on the team. It certainly can affect recruiting. And see, Alabama's not accustomed to that. They don't. It's just a whole different philosophy, and I don't know how that transition's going internally. I know on the surface it appears it's going to be good until they line up to play on Saturday and get beat, and starts to be some questions being asked.
Yeah, I had a caller text me when he asked you about Dion. That was a trap game for them. Too. Yeah.
Well, now they won't be out because he's done a great job for where they have been out there. But rumors about him thinking about going. He's not going to the NFL anytime soon. I think he's going to stay at Colorado another couple of years. And he's moving in the direction he wants. Ives is going to lose.
Somebody's going to get in, so it ought to be him.
Well, he would draw because of his personality. And the team is not bad. I mean, it's really. You remember we took over a team that was 1-11 the year before. They won 4 the first year. They're going to get 8 or 9 this year. So, but they aren't going to make the playoffs. I think they'll get a good bowl game, and he'll work the portal again, and he'll recruit well. I'm more concerned about him for next year, about his, how his recruiting could go based on where he's been, and it really the way he promotes the school itself. But how you go, the information I get out of Denver is that he brought at least $100 million in advertising money to that university. They hadn't seen that in years out there.
Max,
so, he's a hero out there.
Let me ask you this: I think Alabama's out, but I do think there is a team that could sneak in. They probably won't, but they deserve it. If South Carolina knocks off Clemson, South Carolina deserves to go before Alabama. They had some injuries. They had a couple questionable calls in a couple of games. If you're talking about getting the top 12, the way they're playing right now, they're one of the top 12, Max. They deserve some consideration way before Alabama, in my opinion.
What about what happens if Clemson beats them? Will they get in?
Well, Clemson needs Miami to lose this weekend against Syracuse so they can get to the championship game. That's probably their only way in.
Well, you got Miami and SMU going.
Yeah. Well,
I think all that the situation comes from all of our coaching backgrounds, wanting to have the best teams. And I think the committee will take maybe the top 6 best teams. But when it gets down to 9, 10, 11, 12, I'm telling you guys, they're going to go to see what kind of fan base they have that will follow the game, because the TV ratings equals money as far as the committee is concerned. And I'm just telling you that's going to outweigh performance on the field if it's close. Now, if it's, they aren't going to take somebody that's got 3 or 4, let's say 4 losses. I think they would take Alabama. Alabama got in last year over Florida State, guys, for one reason, because they had 30 million people watching that ball game. Florida State had about 6 million. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what's Alabama got to do against Auburn to get it? I don't think they will. They got to stop them or what?
They got to win and win convincingly. Really, they do. For whatever that means. The committee will take this loss certainly in consideration. But if Alabama could, bounce back and win the game by 20. What is it? The line? What's the line?
11.5.
Yeah. Okay. They need to win by 20. If they win by 20, I think I truly believe, depending on who ends up at 11-12 in the polls, and I'd say Alabama was 13 or 14. I think there's a good chance they can slide in at 11-12.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Wow.
It was quite they talk about the regular season wouldn't matter. Yes, it does. I mean, you look at what Ole Miss and Alabama and Colorado and BYU and a lot of teams that were going to be in got flushed out this last.
But Barry, what happened is they've equaled the competition. It's growing closer and closer like the NFL. I mean, you look at the business plan of the NFL. It's the best business plan in any sports venture in the whole world. It makes a lot of money every year. Well, the college game now is narrowed down to where it's coming that way. That's why the viewers have a lot to say so who gets in if the team is fairly competitive. Alabama's been competitive. They just played they had a terrible game this week.
But I don't like to stir it up, but and Barry and I try to disagree on some things, which is good for our show. But I think losing, as he's mentioned, losing to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, those two teams, I think who you lose to is a factor in that.
Yeah, when you look at Alabama, their record in the conference, it startles you. It's 4-3. And they've lost to Oklahoma, who is 2-5, and Vanderbilt, who was 3. I mean, Vanderbilt's a nice story, but they're 6-5.
But Barry, listen, the committee's going to. This is something else that had been brought up. They go understand that Alabama had a total new coaching staff there. They had a whole new different philosophy in there. They gonna give you every reason if they choose them why they chose them.
Hey Barry, wouldn't you like to have guys like Max on the selection committee?
I tell you what, we're gonna because y'all had a new coaching staff and you had a tough year. You lost the GOAT. We're gonna let you get in the playoff. I know you're not saying that. I'm telling you guys. I hear you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but God.
I've sit in on meetings. When I first went to Ole Miss, that was when the college presidents ran the NCAA. They had a 12-man committee, and Billy put me in that president's office every Monday morning when they met. I'm telling you, you get people at that level trying to make decisions about the game. That's a different world. I just tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to turn to each other and say, I like Alabama, and they got a new coach.
Yeah, let's let them poor things.
No, they're going to say, guys, if we take Alabama, that means 30 million people who watch the ball game, and that means the rates on advertisements going up. And our conference is going to get their fair share.
I don't even
think Coach Saban's going to be on game day.
As crazy as Alabama fans are, Max, I don't even think they deserve to be in. They wouldn't even want it right now the way it's gone. So
they'd want it.
Yeah, I guess they'd take it. They're talking about the Citrus Bowl, Max. You think they're going to have a lot of people get tickets to the Citrus Bowl for Christmas?
Could be.
Oh
Birmingham Bowl. The Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, Liberty. Listen, the Liberty's always open.
The Birmingham Bowl brings them all. They sell that thing out. Birmingham Bowl.
They couldn't sell out Northridge High School for a bowl game if they don't go to the playoff, and that's just based on the standard that they've had in the past.
Well, see, there's the answer right there, Barry. That's the difference because
standard.
The previous coaching staff was we expected to do that. This team was expected, but now, it just didn't work out yet. But he's going, the teams had gotten better up to that point. I don't know where the preparation came. That's what.
Well, if Alabama beats Auburn 20, I just can't wait to hear that conversation.
All right, Max, I'm going to ask you a controversial question that everybody. I shouldn't ask this, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Do it.
Deep down. Because we know how everybody likes to feel like they were really, really good. And he was. Deep down, is Coach Saban happy, saying, see there, you lost me, and see what happens. See what happens.
Well, let me tell you, I saw a clip that Coach Saban was talking to somebody. This was somebody asked him the question, that almost the same thing. And Coach Saban says, I left him a Lamborghini, and they turned it into a Model A.
Did he really say that?
I saw it on TV.
Yeah. A Lamborghini. I won't let you go on that one. Max, have a great Thanksgiving. Are you frying a turkey this week?
Yeah, we're going to do one. I just met with my friends last night. We planned the menu and all. We're going to feed 23, I believe, they said. And I'll get up there that morning. I'm going to do a deep fried turkey. But we're going to have a Cajun also on the side. It's a little spicy. We got a bunch of big deer hunters, and they coming in. And so we'll feed it. It'll be traditional. However, the the place that we're having it this year, the host told me last night that they going to set it up like a buffet style, and they're going to have a separate table for desserts. She already named about 6 already. And I told her, she asked me what I'm going to take that Mississippi mud pie for my dessert. But they got, cheesecake, they got chocolate pies, pecan pies. That's going to be a dessert.
Hey, Matt.
We're going to eat at 1 o'clock, yeah.
Will you, I've been bragging on you. Will you save me a piece? I love chocolate.
Coach, I'll cook you a cake and get it over.
Send him a fruit cake.
No, don't send me no goddamn fruit cake.
Thank you, Max.
All right, guys. Thank you all here.
All right. We want to thank Yellowwood. They made this 7 o'clock hour possible. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. I got people mad. They're texting me. Some people agreeing. I am being ugly today, and we're usually pro coach. All right, so we're always pro coach, but that Saturday, what happened to the punter?
I'm trying to tone it down a little
bit. What happened to the punter? We had the best punter in the country. All of a sudden, he couldn't punt.
That's a good point.
Tell you what you want. You want to see a bad punter? Take a look down there at Auburn.
Our punter's great, and I guess it was windy. I don't know.
You ought to see this cat down there at Auburn.
Auburn or Eagle. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
College football season. And now is the time, though you have to have done your homework previously, but now is the time when the scouting really, really matters. Now you're getting to the big conference games, plus you had the bowl games, plus you have the Senior Bowl. You need to really have your evals. By my guesstimation, this is actually one of the real smart moves. They are going to drop the old napalm and start over. Right? Aaron Rodgers is not going to be back. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to have a new general manager. They might well have a new logo next year. It's all going to look different. And with that, why would you give a guy a chance to see something when you haven't done the legwork of what changes you want to make along the path? And if you do it last week or 2 weeks of the season, you're not getting really a true sense because you're not playing against teams.
To get the rest of what Doug said, podcast it by searching The Doug Gottlieb Show
at Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident at Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some long...
800-426-1886. 800-426-1886. That's 800-426-1886.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Phone lines are open 205-342-9904. Andrew Kniffer, he's my Allstate insurance agent. Let him become yours. Out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Looking for home life auto. When you have insurance and you have a problem, you need to use it. Andrew knows everybody inside and out in this area, and that helps a lot as well. So give him a call today, 205-722-9201. On the Tide 100.9 app, we have a message center. You can send messages. We got 2 coming in here from, and I said maybe I'm overreacting. Well, the listeners don't think so. JJ from Greensboro says, you are not overreacting. Thank you, JJ. Horrible game. We get beat by Auburn and end up in the Music City Bowl, is what he thinks. And then Justin, right here in Tuscaloosa, says, Dad and Chase, I agree with you. Oh, I love to hear that. I agree with you completely. I think there was some funny business going on there with that Milroe tackle when he just flopped down on the ground.
He got a mouth.
And he lost consciousness, and he didn't put any effort into the tackle at all. Like he didn't care and didn't try to put on a good show and make it look like he tried.
They
couldn't lose
I
him.
don't have any faith at all that they'll beat Auburn.
They couldn't afford to lose Milroe. He didn't want to get hurt.
What do you mean they couldn't afford to lose him? Just adrenaline alone, when you throw a pick like that.
They couldn't afford to lose him. He knows in his mind. He was looking after the team when he did tackle that guy.
It would be like turning the ball over at a critical moment in basketball, and you watch the guy dribble down and shoot a leg, and you don't run down there and foul him or try to block. You just let him go.
It's not the same thing.
It's absolutely the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing at all.
Why?
It's not because your mouth and your tackling is.
When did he get hit in the mouth?
Football.
When did he get hit in the mouth?
He got hit in the mouth on third or fourth play of the game.
Yeah, this was in the fourth quarter when he did this. So he's still worried about his mouth. He didn't need to be in there.
Well, any time a guy does bad after he's done great, he's a bad guy.
I didn't say he was a bad guy. I think I love his interviews, but when the effort there on that play was not good.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying even the interceptions. One guy he jumped the route and they got it. Brent Venables did a heck of a job, or their defense coordinator. Give them credit. They looked like they looked like that Georgia defense did that one year when they beat Alabama so bad. Like there was 18 people on the field. There was nowhere to go. And so they said he is not going to beat us with his legs. That's not happening today. He might throw it, and so I don't know. No.
Well, generally speaking, I'm on your side with most of this stuff. But I think in this particular game, you can't say enough about what the hard work that Oklahoma put in, and you may be right, they didn't put in enough hard work. Alabama did in getting ready for the game, but you can't say enough about what Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was a joke compared to the offense and defense that Oklahoma played. So I got to give Oklahoma a lot of credit myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Oklahoma credit, but as an Alabama staff, don't you have to make some adjustments when you see how they're defending certain situations? And
I don't know what the defense. I don't know how the defense played.
We're paying these guys. Kalen DeBoer's making $10 million.
All right, let me ask you this question.
And the coordinators are making over $1 million.
You're in a football school. You're in a football school. The football team has fallen on its face. It is going to the Citrus or the Birmingham Bowl. And so because of that, you're like some of our callers. You're not about to go to the game. You're going to watch it, of course. You're not going to tell anybody, but you're going to watch it on television.
The Auburn game?
You're not going. No, the bowl game.
Yeah, I'll watch it, sure.
You're not going to go to the game. You're going to be disgusted. The crowd from being 85,000 will be 35,000. Is that a football school?
It is, but when you see a team, when I see lack of effort, then I'm gonna watch them because I do a radio show, but I don't have any faith.
Well, based on your comments, it was they got beat because of a lack of effort. I think they got beat. I think they got beat because of Oklahoma's defense.
Do you have faith that Alabama's going to be ready to play against Auburn?
I think they will be.
Okay. All right. Let's get real quick. We got to get to Dub, but we got Biscuit Bruce calling in. Biscuit, we got about 2 minutes. Good morning, buddy.
Morning, guys. Look, I know it's talk radio. I honestly believe I don't think Wimp Sanderson believes everything he's talking about because it is talk radio. But here's the thing. I think it is one of the worst. Look, first of all, where do I go and file to get my $3,500 back? I spent flying out there and watching this crap.
Yeah.
That was the worst. I'm 68 years old. The worst Alabama football game I have ever witnessed.
Well, you hadn't seen them all.
Well, I hadn't seen them all. I just said I'm 68 years old. It's the worst one I've ever witnessed.
I wish I was.
I know you do, Coach.
Just adjustments, effort, right? And then out-coached, outplayed.
Barry,
yes.
Here's 100%. 100% one thing. The minute he went over there, and I'm going to excuse my language like you did, and candy ass tried to tackle that boy, he would have been sitting on the bench, and he wouldn't have saw playing time for a while.
No.
You're going to throw a pick six, and I get tired of people saying he's the most athletic person on the field.
Dad said he got hit in the mouth on the third. Dad said he got hit in the mouth on the third play.
That ain't got nothing to do.
Nick Saban would not have taken him out.
Yes, he would have.
No, he would not.
have too.
Yes, he would have.
He would not.
He in the national championship game, he made a change at halftime.
Cost him the rest of the game.
Well, but when Nick Saban saw that
it wasn't one play.
Yeah.
It wasn't one play, Coach. He done had 50 plays.
Nick Saban took out Jalen Hurts.
At national championship, he changed quarterbacks. You don't think he'd change that?
Yes, he
absolutely, he would have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Biscuit.
Yes.
I can get you 6 tickets on the 50-yard line for the Birmingham Bowl.
Biscuit ain't going now. You fooled him once. Shame on him. Fooled me twice.
Look, Coach, if you can get me 6 tickets to the Birmingham Bowl and Alabama's in it, I'll take them. I don't care where it is. I'll go. Me and my family will go, but I won't spend $3,500. Look, this is our 13th road trip. My wife and her friend want to see all the SEC stadiums. We are now 12-1. 12-1. We lost our first away game watching that crap.
Were you mad?
The only thing worse than watching
were you mad at Alabama any of the games that they won?
I ain't mad at them now. I just think we made poor adjustments, and I would have made some adjustments to try to do better in that game.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at them. Look, we can go around the house. Yeah, it is new coach. It's new this. It's new that. New this. But ill preparation, in my opinion, and no adjustments made. All Oklahoma did was they practiced all week on Vanderbilt's offense, and that's exactly what Hugh Freeze is down there doing right now.
Yeah,
he's practicing the same offense.
Hey, he got hit on third play, Biscuit.
That don't make any difference. I've been hit in the mouth, and you're exactly right on that analogy.
Yeah.
It's been like somebody stealing the ball, and that guy just standing there watching him go down. Wimp Sanderson would not have put up with that. You don't think that guy would have been on the bench?
Don't hit no more. Put flags on.
You think I might have benched him?
Yeah, you would have benched him so fast he would have had a migraine.
Yes.
You'd have yanked him off that court and sit him down and said, hey, you just sit right here and get your water because you ain't playing again today.
Thank you, Biscuit. I'm glad we were.
I think you might be right,
sir.
Biscuit.
Thank you, Biscuit.
You might be right.
All right. I appreciate you calling. Thank you. All right. Keep agreeing with me. All right. Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. You look at the new inventory, the pre-owned inventory. Schedule a service. Rent a Toyota. Also, swing by Skyland Boulevard. See Justin. See David. They'll take great care of you. All right. I'm going to slide out. I got to get up to my tournament. But Dad will handle Doug. Y'all brag on Doug, though. Bragg is 6-0 in the last 2 weeks. Brag on him. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident at Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some
moms, dads, grandparents, kids, friends, coworkers, and they're the most comfortable shoes they'll ever wear. Find them for the holidays at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Crimson Tide Today is presented on Tide 100.9, WTBC 1230 by BMW of Tuscaloosa. Online at bmwoftuscaloosa.com.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by CBNS Bank. Bank anywhere, at any time, with CBNS Bank's digital solutions. Managing your finances has never been so easy. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Here are thoughts from Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer following Saturday's game at Oklahoma.
Obviously, extremely disappointed, frustrated. Just, we worked, I thought, extremely hard all week. Putting a plan together, guys. Good energy. Excited to come here on the road, and we gotta play better. We gotta be better in all ways. And there's some simple things, uncharacteristic things. I think that happened early in the game where we didn't get the momentum on our side. And then really it comes down to the end of the first half. Them scoring a touchdown, and then the turnovers. Really kind of changing the momentum of the game there. So, turnovers were going to be a key. We said that coming in. We knew taking the ball off them like we did early was going to be big.
I'll have more in a moment.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. You could say we know a thing or two about tradition. We've been family, community, and financially strong since we began in 1906. Being a team player is part of our culture. That's why at CB&S Bank, we're proud to sponsor the University of Alabama Athletics and prouder to take the field or court with you. Visit cbsbank.com today. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Join us tonight for Crimson Tide Rewind, presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health, live at 6 p.m. Central at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 56 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, we're ready for Doug Bell to give his 3 winning shots, and I'll talk to him a little bit about mine, and Doug will talk, and then we'll talk football. We'll go football after Doug talks a little bit about the golf and his picks, and we'll go from there. Doug, good morning.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Good.
I'm okay. Barry had to go.
Yeah.
Chase, do you have Doug's wins?
I do.
Okay. All right. Let's go over Doug's first win.
Yes, his first win of last weekend. Drum roll, we had Ohio State, Indiana. That was a win.
Okay.
And then the second one, we have Florida and Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's going to Lane Kiffin. We got Florida in that one.
That was big.
That was big. And then the third one, we got Arizona State and BYU. Crazy to me. That's a win. 3-0. We got 6-0 in the past 2 weeks. Incredible.
Well, I won taking Tennessee in the 41 and a half points.
Oh, my. That was against UTEP. Yeah.
Now, tell me how you came up with the Indiana-Ohio State game. What was that?
Well, I felt like a lot of people that Indiana had not played anybody all year. Strength of schedule was very low compared to all the other teams that were ranked, in that top 20, especially in the last college football rankings. And I just thought at Ohio State, they were going to run into the number one defense in the country. And that's ultimately what happened. Ohio State's offense didn't do a lot, but they had a punt return. They had a block kick. They had an interception. So special teams and defense made the difference. But I just thought Indiana, had a phenomenal season, but had beaten virtually nobody up to that point. And now we'll just have to see how they close out the year and if they're going to make the playoffs.
For most of you who don't know, you're a lot younger than I am. Gabby Bell was Doug's dad, and Gabby Bell was a terrific announcer. I used to listen to Gabby when I was a kid. So I hadn't had a chance to say that because Barry and I usually do the show together with Doug. But Gabby was as good as he was better than Doug. He wasn't as good as Doug. He was better than Doug.
No, you're right about that, Coach.
Yeah, he was better. Okay,
Coach, I appreciate that.
I'm proud to have Doug on our show. He's a great guy. All right, your second win. Why? Arizona State.
Well, first off, Arizona State is one of the. I think the number one surprise story in all of college football. They make the switch to the Big 12. Herm Edwards, who's now back at ESPN, he and a staff that was full of NFL guys made an absolute mess of Arizona State. Left them with an NCAA investigation, on probation, and nobody wanted to coach Arizona State. And Kenny Dillingham, if you saw his press conference after that crazy finish against BYU, he's 34 years old. He's he looks like he's 24 years old. He took the job. Nobody else wanted it. He got these transfers to come in. He has this. His energy is infectious. has a really good quarterback. And, Coach, suddenly they're 9-2. They have a chance to win the Big 12. They were the overwhelming pick to finish last. They haven't lost at home all season. And I just thought, and even though they had to hang on, that was another winner for me. Dillingham, by the way, coached at Auburn with Gus Malzahn a few years ago before Coach Malzahn went to Central Florida. So we're kind of familiar with him. I don't know. I just think they're a phenomenal story. And, Coach, I've picked them now the last 3 weeks, and I've been a winner each time with Arizona State. So,
well, Dillingham is very good. He's going to be one of the candidates for National Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say now, but my National Coach of the Year has got a losing record. That's who my National Coach of the Year would be, not him. But
who's that?
I'll say a little bit later, but I keep teasing him a little bit. I'm learning to tease a little. But Dillingham did a great job. Arizona State is absolutely, because they made it a mess when he left. I listened to him talking about the NFL yesterday on the show, the former coach, and he's pretty good about that. But he didn't know about how to get it. He thought he had to cheat, and at that particular time they weren't doing quite what they're doing today. All right, your third game.
Well, Chase, we had the winner. What was the third game there, Chase? It was what?
It was, let me have it ready for you right now. It was, so you had picked Ohio State, Indiana, and then we had Arizona State and BYU. And then we had Florida and Ole Miss. You had
Florida. Of course, Florida, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Well, he kicked the field. He kicked for the field goals rather than a touchdown. Go ahead, Lucky. You go ahead.
Well, listen, the Gators, very easily could have beaten Georgia if the quarterback hadn't gotten hurt in that game. They had Tennessee on the ropes, and then when they beat LSU at home, I just thought, here's a team that has turned the corner. I do think they have to be careful this week at Florida State. They're a heavy favorite in that game against FSU, 15-point favorite. I think they have to be careful. They're a better team than FSU, but they're going to Tallahassee, and they've been on a high now for several weeks. But that's an amazing story too, Coach. Billy Napier was all but fired after the third week of the season, and the powers that be, because of an incredible buyout and the fact they had a lot of money tied up.
They didn't have a president either.
Well, yeah, and he survived. And I think
announcing that he was going to stay helped him rather than hurt him. It got people off his back. It got the fans coming to root for Florida. I think the quarterback he's starting now likes him a great deal. And go ahead.
Well, no, and some of those throws that Lagway threw against Ole Miss, off balance, off one leg, with pressure. This kid's a true freshman. And now there's all this talk that USC and Lincoln Riley and all these people are putting together these crazy NIL packages to get him to transfer. But from all indications, DJ's going to stay in Gainesville. He's happy there. He has, he loves his teammates, et cetera. There is something to be said for that. And Florida has come up with some NIL money for him. So I think the future, you got to have one of those guys. And I think Florida with him at quarterback, I'm telling you. And, it's interesting. As the schedule works, Coach, next year, Florida had the really tough schedule this year, right? But it's the same schedule next year. It's just you flip. If you're at home, you go on the road and vice versa. So they're going to have another tough schedule next year. But at the same time, I think they're going to be better than some of those teams that they went against this year. They get Tennessee at home. I don't know. I think Florida's on a good rise now with Billy Napier as head coach.
Before we take your picks for this week, we've had one of our guests, Max Howell, has said to our listeners that he feels with 3 losses, Alabama will be in the 12 if they beat Auburn by 20 or more. And he says that because he feels like that it's money because everybody wants to watch Alabama play. Now, if they go to a bowl, nobody wants to go. But if they play in the 12, he feels like that they will be able, if they beat Auburn by 20, that they will be one of the teams, or maybe the only team, to be in the 12 with 3 losses. Do you concur with that?
I think Coach Howell is very wise, and I totally concur with that. Listen, I've said from the beginning on your show, I think being what the TV networks have to do with this thing, I think the Big Ten gets 4 in regardless. I think the Southeastern Conference gets 4 in regardless of record. Big 12 gets 1. ACC gets 1. Notre Dame steals a spot, even though they haven't played anybody. And obviously you're going to have Boise State. That'll round out your 12. Listen, Georgia, if they get by Georgia Tech, okay. If they lose the SEC championship game, they're going to have 3 losses. Tennessee, yes, I think you're going to have a 3-loss team.
Tennessee just got Vanderbilt. That's all they've got.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, I do think Alabama can get in there. I don't think they're knocked out of the equation.
You and Max Howell, both of you, our guests usually every Monday. Both of you believe that if the scores are correct for Alabama, and by correct, I mean a good score against Auburn, that Alabama will be one of the 12 teams.
Yeah, I do believe that, and I know Dabo said last week on his press conference at Clemson, he was bemoaning the fact that the 12-team playoff is nothing more than the Big Ten SEC Invitational, and I don't think he was tongue-in-cheek in that too much. I think he believes that. I believe that, and I think it's going to happen. And
okay,
I think Alabama could get it.
We're going to get your picks in a minute. If
Sure.
Dabo and them were to beat South Carolina,
right?
Would Clemson still have a shot in the 12?
No, I think the ACC champion is the only team that's going to get in out of the ACC. I mean, Clemson would be 10-2.
Miami's going to get in.
Well, if they win the ACC championship,
what about SMU?
I think SMU and Miami, the winner of that game will get in. I think the loser is going to be left out.
So you think the loser of that game is out?
Yes, I think the ACC gets 1 in.
Right.
I think Big 12 gets 1. I think SEC gets 4.
You talk Big 12.
4.
Big 12 is so confusing. It's unbelievable. But you're telling our listeners that the loser of Miami and SMU does not get in.
That's right. I think they'll end up going to a nice bowl game.
I don't agree. I think they've got Alabama's spot. Would there be any kind of chance at all for South Carolina to get in if they were to beat Clemson?
They'd finish 9-3. I don't think so. I'm anxious to see what the College Football Playoff Committee has coming out tomorrow night.
Yeah,
and then I can answer that.
I'm asking it.
Yeah. I think South Carolina, right now they're 16th. I think that would be a big leap for them. So I guess to answer your question, no, I don't think South Carolina is going to get in the playoffs, even if they beat Clemson.
Do you think that A&M gets in if they lose to Texas?
No.
Do you think they get in if they beat Texas?
Well, if they beat Texas, they're going to go to the SEC championship and play Georgia. And I think the 2 teams that ultimately make the SEC championship both will be in, and then you'll have 2 others from the SEC that didn't get to play in the championship game that will be in as well. I think I just from the beginning I've always felt, especially with ESPN/ABC televising all these games, and they have the big Southeastern Conference TV contract. And I hear people go, "Oh, that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. They don't care." Yes, they do. It means a lot. And TV ratings. Listen, when you look at the Big Ten television ratings and the Southeastern Conference television ratings, no other league compares. No other league comes even close to the television ratings of Big Ten and SEC. And that's what it's all about. It's eyeballs, and especially that weekend, where you'll have the playoff games coached the same weekend as the NFL wildcard games. I mean, you want people to watch these college games, and they will if there's SEC and Big Ten teams playing.
Well, Max says that the basic reason for Alabama getting in is money. That they want Alabama in because of the millions of people that will watch them. At the same time, when you talk to our listeners, if Alabama plays in the Citrus Bowl or the Birmingham Bowl, they're probably not going to go. So is Alabama a football school?
Yeah, no, and Coach, I agree with that too. Listen, I think Coach Howell is right on. And as far as the bowl games, and this is the beginning of the end for the majority of the bowl games. And again, ESPN owns all the bowl games, and they need programming, and people watch regardless of who's playing, and gamblers gamble regardless of who's playing. But we're beginning to see the extinction of some of these outlying bowl games. Listen, Bernie Avalos is a friend of mine. I don't know if you know Bernie. He's the longtime director of the Sun Bowl out in El Paso. I mean, he's been doing it for 40 years. And he told me that a bowl game like his that's been around, and it's on CBS, and Alabama's played it in it, Auburn's played it in it many times.
I played in basketball part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and he just said that he doesn't see it lasting more than another 2 or 3 years now that the playoffs have expanded and further expansion. And he is proposing that these bowl games like the Sun Bowl and the Birmingham Bowl and things like that would be played at the beginning of the college football season in the next few years, where that would be, in essence, an exhibition game, the first game of the year. Let's play in a bowl game on a neutral site, and then you start your regular season. That's what he is hoping happens to these bowls, because he said, in other words, these bowls that we've grown to watch over the years, he said, in the next 3 to 5 years, they'll be gone. There'll be no more sponsorship money to have these bowls go on, and network TV money will eventually dry up because of the expanded playoff. And they're meaningless games. It'll be hard to get players to play in the games because a lot of kids are opting out already.
Because of the losses that Georgia has already had. They've already been projected to be in the 12. If Georgia were to lose to Georgia Tech and then get beat in the playoff game in Atlanta, which would give them, I think we give them 4.
That'd be 4 losses.
Would
yeah.
Georgia still remain in the 12?
I think that would be that in that scenario. No, I think it would be hard. You know what I've been telling you here the last few minutes. I still think there's going to be 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC. It would be hard to get a 4-loss team into the playoffs. That would be hard to justify, and that would they'd be crying from the rooftops at Clemson and some of these Big 12 schools. That wouldn't happen. I think Georgia's going to have to take care of business more than capable. I do think they'll beat Georgia Tech. And again, we saw what they did against Texas in Austin, 4 or 5 weeks ago? That could potentially be a rematch. So that would be interesting. And Texas has never played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is a pseudo home game for Georgia. Has never been in that environment before. So good luck trying to turn the table on Georgia in that environment.
Okay, if things go down smoothly for our listeners, you're saying there are 4 SEC teams in there. So if they go out smoothly by what you say, Texas, Alabama, and Georgia would be 3 of the 4. Who would be the 4th?
Mm-hmm. Well, then you got to have Tennessee, right?
Okay, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I asked some good questions. You gave some.
Well, I just think it's, in my heart, I really believe it. I just cannot believe if you're trying to create interest and trying to get eyeballs on these playoffs. I mean, if you have Ohio State in there and Penn State in there and Oregon, who very well and that's the other thing, Coach, I don't think we're going to have an undefeated team going into the 12-team playoff. I think Oregon will lose in the rematch with Ohio State in the Big Ten championship
you think
game.
Indiana gets in the 12?
Well, I think potentially they'll sneak in. You got to have 4 Big Ten teams, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to sneak in. And again, it goes back to what we said a few minutes ago. If you really break down who Indiana has played, their schedule just fell perfectly into place. It was the perfect storm. You got the coach Cignetti coming in, bringing all these kids in, most of them from James Madison, where he coached before. They play a schedule that was, I mean, it was easy. Yeah. And then when they finally have a challenging game, and they didn't play well. They turned it over, et cetera. But that's happened, especially at a place like Ohio State. And so they suffered their first loss. We'll see if they can regroup, and I think they will. And I think they'll be in the playoffs, and I think it'll be an early exit for Indiana in the playoffs.
All right, I'm going to mention a little bit more football after you get off. But prior to you getting off, McNeely won the golf tournament down at Sea Island, home of what's his name, and
Davis Love III.
Yeah, Davis Love III. Lee Hodges won $319,000, and Robbie Shelton won $104,000.
Big week for Lee Hodges.
That? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, big week for Lee Hodges. He had a chance to win it, and Lee started playing better here at the end of the year, which is good for him as he looks to next year. And again, starting next year in golf, Coach, it's going to be tougher to get into tournaments. They're reducing tournament sizes, and ultimately at the end of next year, it'll be harder to maintain your playing privileges in 2026. So guys like Lee Hodges and Robbie Shelton and Trey Mullinax, they got to get to work, man. They got to really play hard because it's going to get increasingly difficult to maintain playing privileges on the PGA Tour. But that tournament itself, Maverick McNeely won for the first time. And, Coach, if you were watching, we had a four-way tie for first. Going to the 72nd hole, he was 185 yards out on a really difficult par 4, 108 downhill lie, and he hits it up there to 5 feet and birdies it for his first win. That was clutch. That was absolutely clutch. And so now he gets all the benefits of a win, which includes the 2-year exemption, the Masters, playing in Maui, the Century Tournament Champions, all good stuff. And what was interesting about Maverick McNeely, he's from Stanford, Coach. His dad is one of the wealthiest men in the United States. He's a billionaire, and his family was right there. So he's an interesting guy, a super young man, by the way, very, very nice, but different than other golfers who are doing everything they can to stay out there. He has no financial worries, which I've always found to be an interesting dichotomy for these golfers. I mean, nothing to worry about.
When you stand on those 6-foot putts, it doesn't bother you as much, does it?
I don't think so. It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay, give our listeners your picks for this coming week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chase, here we go. The Egg Bowl, guys. Mississippi State is getting 26 points against Ole Miss in Oxford. And, the old saying, you can throw out the records when these teams meet in the Egg Bowl. Listen, the records tell the story. Mississippi State is 0-7 in the Southeastern Conference. They are really a bad football team and haven't shown a lot of improvement. The freshman quarterback,
26.5.
I'm going with Ole Miss to absolutely blow them out. Major mismatch.
They kick a lot of field goals.
Coach Kiffin's going to keep the hammer down on this one. They're going to wind up 9-3. And they're going to win. I mean, this is going to be one of these 56-10 type games. And so, again, take Ole Miss and give the 26. All right, here's the other game I really like, and we were talking about it earlier, South Carolina at Clemson. 16th ranked South Carolina, 12th ranked Clemson.
You're taking
last time South Carolina had 9 wins, Coach Spurrier was there 2013. And the South Carolina offense, which was struggling early, like at the Alabama game, for example, and they almost won that one, over the last 4 games, they're averaging more than 7 yards of play. I mean, their offense
I like
is
them, but they give up a big play every cotton picking time. They get South Carolina gets 2.5 points.
I'm taking South Carolina, and I'm taking those points, and I think South Carolina is going to beat Clemson outright, but I just like the fact they're getting points. So take South Carolina in that one. And keep in mind, Coach, I'm hot. Georgia Tech at Georgia. I got Georgia Tech getting 19.5 in that game. And keep in mind now, Georgia Tech can run the football. That's what they did to beat Miami. Georgia Tech has 7 wins on the year. And Georgia, their run defense is kind of a head-scratcher. They gave up all those yards against Ole Miss. UMass ran the football on Georgia last week.
It's 19.5. Who are you taking?
Georgia Tech.
Oh, my heavens, they ain't mauled.
I'm taking Ramblin' Wreck in the 19.5, and I think that's going to be a comfortable victory. That's who I got. And then Chase asked me about the Alabama-Auburn game. Again, Chase, you got my 3 picks, but just for our audience, I'll be at the game on Saturday. I always look forward to the Iron Bowl. Alabama, 11.5-point favorite over Auburn. That's what I got, right? 11.5?
That's correct.
I think Alabama. It's weird. Auburn wins. Alabama plays their worst game in, 20 years, whatever it was.
According to Barry, lifetime.
Well, yeah, there you go. I just think it's a flip. I think that's a perfect setup for Alabama winning big over Auburn, their rivals, and covering that spread. And like Coach Howell said, Alabama blows them out and then has the argument, hey, guys, I know we have 3 losses, but 9-3, a blowout of Auburn, who beat A&M last week, we deserve to be in the playoffs. And I think that's how it plays out, the Iron Bowl on Saturday.
Well, I just want to be sure that all, listeners, they turn it on, turn it off, and all that kind of stuff, the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That both of our guests today, who we think are very good guests, have picked Alabama to be in the 12 tomorrow night.
Yeah. Heather Dinich, the young lady on ESPN who, follows this playoff thing, that's her job. And she's in touch with the playoff committee people. She's talking to them all the time. She said Sunday morning following the blowout loss to Oklahoma, she said, don't count out Alabama just yet. And she, even Heather Dinich.
Well, how would Heather know?
She's on the end, Coach. She's inside the boardroom somehow. I don't know. She talks to these people. I'm just going. If Coach Howell says it and Heather Dinich says it.
Well, I don't think tomorrow night's the last pick. But so you think they'll be maybe outside the 12 tomorrow, but close enough to where they jump in there if they crack Auburn.
Well, I think they'll be 12th tomorrow. I think they'll be 12th, but the way these things. Yeah, but the way these things fall out, conference champions, just because you're 12th doesn't mean you're going to be in the 12. The way it all works out.
You think they'll be 12 tomorrow? That's a gamble there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they were 7 last week, weren't they? So I think they'll drop to 12. Yeah, but and I think they'll listen. They got to beat Auburn, and then a lot of stuff has to shake out. But we see it shake out every Saturday. Last week was such a crazy Saturday, and I just think we're going to have more chaos this Saturday, and what we saw last weekend is what we're going to see now from here on out in college football.
Do they have to beat Auburn bad? Would 14-7 do it? 21-14?
No, I think it has to be. I think it has to cover that point spread. Not that the committee looks at the point spread, but I think they got to win. They got to win comfortably and be impressive and show that they bounce back. That the Oklahoma game was just an anomaly. It was just one of those things. Alabama goes on the road. Oklahoma's got a lot of good players despite the record. They recruit well. Oklahoma's a lot of players that would start at Alabama right now. This wasn't
good on defense, boy.
And
so
people
for
forget
our listeners, if you're just now tuning in, Doug, who is on a hot roll, has picked Ole Miss, given them 26.5 points, whatever the state. He's picked South Carolina, who gets the 2.5, and he's picked Georgia Tech, who gets the 19.5.
Yep.
That's good stuff. I think your girlfriend picked these last 2 weeks.
Sure. Well, listen, she's helping. I don't want to tell her that if she gets too much credit, she'll get a big head, Coach.
Okay. She gets some credit, but not for picking games. All right. Thanks.
there you go. Have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Too. Thank you. Chase?
Yeah, you want to tell us?
I need to talk about Bryant Bank. Do you want me to have a break first?
You can talk about Bryant Bank. It's okay.
Okay, Bryant Bank, the 4 locations in Tuscaloosa and the many locations in Birmingham. One right below me I go to quite a bit, and they're absolutely great people. So if you're looking to go into a bank that is going to take care of you, that's going to let you bank online around the clock, that's going to take care of your money regardless of how much you've got, whether you have a business account or a personal account. Bryant Bank is going to do everything possible to make you happy, to satisfy you, to meet you at the door, to be a homegrown bank, a home-owned bank, a bank where the people that are in that bank, the banker and all of his people know you as a person. So go by Bryant Bank, and we'll come out back in just a minute, and we'll close it out. Tell them you heard on the inside of the locker room.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some long-term road construction 2059 eastbound between Western Bypass and Exit 71A. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Renee Miller.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside.
To be. Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 57 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Follow Tide 100.9 on Facebook today to watch our live shows, read the great articles, and interact with Bama fans today.
We fixed to close it out. Am I on, Chase?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I would like to ask any of you that know anybody that would advertise on our show to call me. We need some more advertising if we're going to stay on. Jimmy Raines, of course, our big advertiser, but we've got Bryant Bank and a few others. But if you want us to stay on, you may like our show, you may not. But we're not going to be able to hang on here unless we get some advertisers. You can call Chase and get my phone number from Chase and call me, and we'll discuss what we need to do to get your product or your business on our show. We appreciate all y'all being on our show. Appreciate the call-ins. I think we tried to keep it as stirred up as we could, but I was truthful. I wasn't quite as adamant about as Barry was, but of course that brought in a lot of callers, and we appreciate y'all calling in. Appreciate y'all talking about our show from time to time, and hopefully all of you have of course, I'll tell you this before Thanksgiving, but I assume that we're off on Thanksgiving Day. I don't know about the day after, but I assume we're off Thanksgiving Day, so we'll know for sure tomorrow. Thanks.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some